We know you want to hear more of what Andrew and John have to say. Don't worry, we will. But first, let's hear what they got into earlier today on Kincaid and South Tunis.
They go into the Boston Garden and win 113-97 to force a Game 6. That game last night where it looked like the team before the appendectomy, right? Where Joel Embiid was playing at a high level. They found ways to make Maxey work. They found ways to make Edgecombe work. Paul George was playing great basketball when he returned from his suspension. And last night we saw it come together again in the second half. And now they force a Game 6. They're down 3-2. They're still playing the Boston Celtics. It's why it's bittersweet. But, man, last night was so much fun to just live in that moment.
Okay, just lose the word bittersweet. It's not bittersweet. There's nothing bittersweet about it. There's no bittersweet.
What's bittersweet is the continuous what-if conversation that we will always have.
The reason that this has been such a joyous series to watch is because of the fact that I went in thinking all I wanted to do was to be proud of them. And they've exceeded my expectations. They've won 2 games now. I thoroughly believe they've got a real solid chance to win a third. And then who the hell knows what happens on Saturday?
Phillies fired Rob Thomson yesterday, Johnny.
Yeah, I can't believe it happened.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I was shocked that it took so long, but the delay being that they had to find a guy to take his job before letting him go.
They needed to get something lit under their rear ends. That was the biggest thing about the move. And they go out there and beat the Giants 7-0. It's amazing how sports work.
Best game of the year.
Now back to the show.
Yeah, a little bit of what we've talked about so far this morning. Sixers get the win last night. They force a Game 6 tomorrow night. Flyers Game 6 tonight. We've been getting some sicko voice memos today because we need to hear from the fired up Flyers fans, and we've been reacting to the Phillies who fired Rob Thomson yesterday afternoon. Phillies go on to win the first game in the Don Mattingly era, 7-0. And Buster Olney, who's going to be joining us in a few minutes, yesterday on SportsCenter straight up said it's a matter of when Alex Cora becomes the manager of the Phillies. He mentioned, man, it could be August. And you and I had the exact same reaction. Well, if the Phillies turn this around, you're not.
Because Cora's not coming in here if there's a cold corpse in August.
No.
He's not going to go, sign me up for 2 months of the dead animal on the side of the road. He's only coming in if it was good, and then why would you take Mattingly out if the team responds?
Things are good? Right.
So that's not going to happen.
Yeah, so we'll see. And he mentioned maybe...
Now, if it happened next week, if he said, okay, now I'm ready next week or 2 weeks, that's different.
Right. And then he mentioned maybe the beginning of 2027, which we both go, well, is there going to be baseball in 2027? So we can ask Buster that while he's with us. All right, what do we have on the Davis Honda text line? Feel the Davis difference. Check them out in Burlington. We've been all over the place because Philadelphia sports is all over the place right now. What do we got?
Oh, yeah, and we got voice memos coming in to get people fired up today. Now, this one is supposedly from Justin. I think it's mislabeled because he sounds a lot more like Herb Brooks to me.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what we have here tonight. A team that nobody believed in. All it takes is one game. It takes one shift, one goal to change the outcome. We can change it here tonight. We can end it here tonight. We can send the Pittsburgh Penguins and their best friends, the NHL OA, the refs, and we can send them packing. And the Xfinity Mobile Arena better be rocking tonight. Let's go Flyers!
That's good work.
Good work. Got a good club.
Got a good club.
I like that.
The shift, just so people know.
Shift.
He said shift.
Shift.
Yeah, shift.
Just in case people were wondering.
There's an F in there. I checked.
We're also celebrating the Sixers win, and they have a Game 6 tomorrow night. So before we go to Buster Olney, let's go to our man Stan in Drexel Hill. What's up, Stan?
Hey, guys, listen, thanks. I know you guys don't have a lot of time. If you would just let me get some things off real quick. This is the thing that bothers me. It's a frustrating thing because I watched this team last night, and I watched them do this in Game 2. This is how you play against Boston. This is not the same Celtics, and I've been saying this, this is not the same Celtics team that had the same firepower. They have a great offense because they have great spacing, but they have a lot of one-dimensional players, a lot of them. And you have to be able to take advantage of that, and you have to be able to make these guys play one certain style of basketball, okay? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are two nuclear bombs. They're going to go off whenever they want. It is what it is. You live with what they do. But some of these other guys, you need to do your homework. There's no reason why I'm at home And I can tell you what Peyton Pritchard is about to do. That guy loves to go off his left, pitter pad left, step back 3 off the left. Force him right. These guys force him off the line, make them take a lot of twos because they're going to give you some bad threes later on in the game, and then you have to just hang in there, and then at the end make your move. And we've seen that 2 games now. In 2 games, that's exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and this is how they're supposed to be playing them. And John is right. You need to take care of business on Thursday. If you can force this back, all the pressure's on Boston. They were supposed to sweep us. They were supposed to get rid of us quick, fast, and in a hurry. If you can force a Game 7, anything can happen, and you can make some history. And I need Joel Embiid to play the same way throughout the game like he did in the second half last night.
He was vintage Embiid in the second half yesterday, Stan. Thanks for the call, man. I'd love to. I mean, I could talk to Stan for 20 minutes, but we got Buster on here.
It was vintage.
But he was vintage Embiid in the second half, and it's why I have that bittersweet feeling. But let's go. Let's get fired up for tomorrow night, and if they can force a Game 7 in Boston, anything can happen. Let's see what happens. All right, joining us now, Johnny, here on Kincaid and South Judas. We always love talking to him, one of our favorite baseball reporters that covers Major League Baseball from ESPN, Buster Olney. Buster, good morning. Thanks for coming on today. The Phillies obviously made news yesterday by parting ways with Rob Thomson. Before we talk about what's next, your thoughts on the Phillies' decision to do that yesterday?
Well, it's not surprising. And, the Mets are in the same boat, too, where when you go into a season with such high expectations, you spent so much money, and it's going this badly, there's going to be changes. I would say this, that changing of the guard that we had with the Phillies here in the last 48 hours and the sequence of events is about as respectful a transition as I can remember. It always feels like that when a coach is fired or somebody, the manager's fired, that there is, there's all kinds of behind the scenes backstabbing and people ripping each other. And this was so different because everything is sort of out in the open. Yeah, Alex Cora is available. We went after him while Rob Thomson was still managing, and Rob Thomson, having all those years in the big league, gets it because he knows how Dave Dombrowski feels about him personally. Him being so respectful of, not only the Phillies, but I think the media, talking to reporters yesterday, it was remarkable. And the way it landed in the end, I said on SportsCenter last night, they kept the light on for Alex Cora. And I'm not ruling out the possibility that at some point this year, and not waiting until 2027, that he's the manager.
Can I ask you this, though, is that Alex Cora, would you believe he's one of the hottest names that could potentially be available across baseball for any job?
Yeah.
Why would the Phillies job be so attractive to him when you look at the state of the Phillies potentially going forward?
So there are a lot of layers to that question. It's a great question. Number one is money. They made him a massive offer in an extension. It wasn't merely, hey, we're willing to take on your contract. They offered him a lot of money, okay? And so you start with that. You start with the fact that he's got a long-standing relationship with Dombrowski, which is unique. There are times, where you can go in, some of these managers go into a new job and they don't really know the general manager until they get in place, and they have to work through, the relationship and figure out how they're going to work together. And that's not the case with Alex. That's unique. He knows very well the most important player in that clubhouse, Kyle Schwarber, because he managed him. So all of that, I think you certainly have to remember. Here's the other thing too. And look, Alex is generally regarded as one of the top 5 managers in baseball, but I'm sure he's aware of the fact that because it went poorly with the last 2 general managers, Chaim Bloom and Craig Breslow, there is an underlying gossip chain among, I think, especially the younger general managers that, maybe Alex is the problem. Maybe, he's not someone you necessarily want to work with at a time when I think that for a lot of the younger general managers, especially, compliance from the manager is one of the priorities. And the chatter is maybe Alex isn't necessarily one of those guys. So if I'm Alex, I'm taking a look at that. But your point is well made, and I've had other people say this to me with other teams where their feeling is, look, the Phillies window might be coming to a close. It's not only the media that's talking about that. I tell you, folks with other teams are wondering the same thing.
So let's talk about the Phillies turning the season around, led by Don Mattingly as the interim manager. You mentioned on SportsCenter yesterday, what it could happen in August where the Phillies bring in Alex Cora. Why would the Phillies do that if they turn the season around? Because you just mentioned a championship window. Would that be a strange move to make if Mattingly turns this season around?
Yes, and that's part of the risk for Alex in not making a deal right now, for sure. Baseball has its long history of managers who've taken over a team in midseason, and suddenly with the turnaround, they go away from being the interim to being the guy. To me, it jumped out that yesterday when they put out that press release, they made it clear Don Mattingly is the interim for the rest of this year, which, again, I think generally speaking, they're keeping the light on for Alex. But you're 100% right. If they go on a roll, what are you going to do? Turn it over. The most notable example of that, back in 1978, the Yankees were having a terrible season. Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner were feuding. They fired Billy Martin, and Steinbrenner got all kinds of pressure from the fans. And he announced the rehiring of Billy Martin subsequently, and then the Yankees took off under Bob Lemon. They went on to win the World Series, and that extended his tenure. That could happen with Don, theoretically.
Buster, when you look at a team that is so top-heavy with these long-term contracts with these veteran players, is that one that is prone to long-term success as far as quick turnarounds? Because I don't know how you turn around the Phillies quickly.
Yeah. I agree with you. The bottom line is that you have the veteran players on the team just to simply have to start playing better. And that doesn't feel like a promising solution, especially if you're a fan. The Mets are in the exact same boat, right? You paid $126 million to Bo Bichette. He's hitting 200. You need him to start playing better. If you're the Phillies, you need their guys that they have in their lineup to simply start performing better. And I'd say this. It is really early. We played about 15% of the season. I was looking at Fangraphs earlier today, the website, and they have the Phillies' chances to make the playoffs right now, despite this horrific start, at 37%. They have the Mets at 34%. And I don't think they're going to win the division. There's only been one team in the history of baseball that's ever come back from a 10-game April deficit to win the division. But in baseball these days, you just get into the dance. And I think with the core of starting pitching they have, they should, at some point, there'll be some stabilization, and, we'll see if they get back into it.
ESPN's Buster Olney joining us here on Kincaid and South Tunis. You mentioned that it's not just media people saying that maybe the Phillies championship window is closing, but people around Major League Baseball. What was the thought going into the season with this Phillies roster where they kept a lot of the guys that are pushing mid-30s, and then they give JT Realmuto the 3-year extension? You have the unfortunate situation with Zach Wheeler that's still unknown. Going into the season, were people surprised by the moves Dombrowski made or the lack of moves that Dombrowski made?
No, because of how close they got last year. Look, if you were to talk to Dave Roberts or other guys in the Dodgers organization, they felt probably up until the very end of the World Series, they felt most vulnerable in their championship run last year in that Phillies series. Like, their thought was, oh my God, if we lose Game 4, we're going to be in real trouble here. And so, given the fact that the Phillies were that good of a team in mid-October, I don't think it surprised anybody. Maybe the length of the JT's contract did. But I will tell you this. There certainly were people of other teams during the wintertime saying, yeah, they might be on edge. Like, they need some of these guys in their 30s to have at least one more great season to keep this window open.
All right, Buster, we appreciate the time, man.
Buster.
Thanks for the update. Well, I'm sure we'll be following you along to see if the Phillies do end up hiring Alex Cora. Thank you, Buster.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care.
There he is, Buster Olney of ESPN, one of our favorites.
That's really that's some interesting stuff.
Look, you've been saying it a lot. Don't look at the standings yet because it's still only April. And you and I were talking about during the commercial break in 2022 and 2023 where the Phillies were at in June.
Yeah,
right?
June 3rd of 2022, June 3rd of 2023. The Phillies were 6 games under 500 both of those seasons. That's 5 weeks from now.
Right.
Like that's we still have 5 weeks to get there. And they were 6 games under. And both of those years they went to Game 6 of the World Series, Game 7 of the NLCS. So that's why I always look at Memorial Day as being the time.
Yeah.
When you look at the standings around Memorial Day and then start to make that determination. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot look at individuals and say, I'm concerned, the Aaron Nolas, things like that. That doesn't mean you can't look at a team and say, they're playing like crap.
It also doesn't mean that you shouldn't make changes just because it's only April. Like this team was spiraling out of control. One of the things that Dave Dombrowski said in his press conference, as much as he annoyed me with the lack of response to Tim Kelly, he just kind of laughed him off.
That was really unbelievable.
And we'll play that here, Connor. But when he was talking about the Phillies and why Rob Thomson, right? He basically said we need another voice in there, and that's something that I think everybody was feeling. Something had to change. Something had to happen. Something had to change last week, but they wanted to wait till the off day, and they're back home, and the shock value. And oh, by the way, if I'm John Middleton, that building was empty yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw it because the Phillies game started 20 minutes before this, or 30 minutes before the Sixers game by the time it tipped off. There was a beautiful shot by NBC Sports Philadelphia. I guess it was drone footage from center field going into the ballpark. And it was a beautiful, beautiful shot, man. Like great work. But there was a lot of empty seats there yesterday. Something had to happen.
And they were giving out the hot dog hats, too.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know. And a lot of people weren't there. But this was Dave Dombrowski yesterday. Because, again, I love Buster Olney. And I love that everybody was pushing the same narrative. That, man, the Dodgers really didn't want to face the Phillies again. Hell, the narrative was being pushed by the Phillies. Dave Dombrowski himself, John Middleton right before the season started, which I thought that was a horrible message to send your team right before a season starts. And maybe that's why they started the season 9-19 and had to fire their manager because everybody was complacent. This was Dave Dombrowski yesterday being asked by Tim Kelly about, what do you tell the fans about your job?
Dave, given some of the shortcomings, whether it's in roster construction or production, why do you think Phillies fans should still believe that you're the right person to lead the front office?
You can answer that question. I'm not going to get into that.
And he had the smug smile when he did it. And a lot of people on social media saying, well, what do you want him to say? Well, I'm not saying he's got to go up there and do some impassionate speech. It's, hey, we're all disappointed. There's parts of the roster that I think can turn things around, blah, blah, blah. Instead of laughing it off, because here's the deal, Dave, a lot of people were already questioning you before the season started, right? The Phillies 9-19 start, it might be surprising because of how bad it is, but is anybody truly, truly surprised that the 4-hole hitter was an issue? That Adolis Garcia is not the guy from 3 years ago? That Bryson Stott is not the player from 3 years ago? Are people surprised by these things?
No, we saw this coming.
That's the thing. Now, did we see it coming to this extent? No, I didn't even. And I'm doom and gloom guy when it comes to this Phillies baseball team, but I still expect them to win 90 games. The problem with me with Dave Dombrowski's scoffing at the question yesterday, it's, dude, people that are sitting in your stadium watching your team play had these concerns months ago, and you did nothing about it. And you said you had a good club.
He arrogantly did that. By the way, his answer to Tim Kelly there, that sort of is unacceptable.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that I have a feeling PR will be smart enough to say, Dave, round back with Tim Kelly and handle that, because that was inappropriate. Tim Kelly asked a legitimate question. He did not ask it in a gotcha fashion. He did not ask it
hey, you stink. Tell us why you don't.
It was not disrespectfully toned. It was not disrespectfully asked. Tim Kelly did his job. That's an A+ job, and he really took offense to it.
And this is the second straight offseason for Dombrowski where he's being questioned, right? Last year, not as harshly, but this year, because of the comments that he makes in October, November, and then the weird offseason, and then the very, very little moves, all right, you got Brad Keller, which we were excited about.
Sure.
And that was it. Garcia was another, let's see what happens. Is he the same guy from 3 years ago? We don't know. We had that exact same conversation with Kepler last year, except it was 5 years. So for Dave Dombrowski to scoff at a question like that,
he's getting to the point where I always say it is when someone starts quoting their resume.
Yeah.
That arrogant, sort of aloofness of all falls back on, well, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a this. When it falls on the resume, it means that the current is not being talked about. Okay. Doug Peterson did it at the end of his.
He sure
did. I played in the league. We won a Super Bowl here. And it's okay, we're talking about today. Not the History Channel. We're talking about today.
my freaking mind. We better figure this out.
I do love Doug.
No, we love Doug, but at the end, he was doing that.
All right, coming up next. We don't want it for one team, Johnny. We definitely don't want it for one team. But there's a chance that we have an insane Saturday in Philadelphia sports. We'll explain more coming up next. Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hey, by the way, we have a deal a week, Johnny.
What is it?
You can get two $50 gift cards that can be used at over 200 Pennsylvania Campground Owners Association campgrounds for the price of one.
Are you a camping guy?
I have done it when I was in high school after homecomings, which was so stupid because it was November and it would be freezing at night. But my family and I have not done it before.
Okay,
but I know there's the glamping. I know that's a thing these days. The glamorous camping.
Glamorous camping.
Glamping. Oh, have you not heard of that?
I have not heard of that one.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard of the camping where you go, people go to cabins.
Yeah, and they're
That's
really
not
nice
camping.
cabins. But no, it's not real. That's why it's glamping, Johnny.
Oh, okay.
But this is camping. 200 Pennsylvania Campground Owners Association campgrounds for the price of one. Two $50 gift cards. Get this deal while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. All right. We do not want this to happen. Let's make that clear. Because for this to happen, that means the Flyers lose tonight. And we do not want that to happen. But Johnny, we could have an insane Saturday in Philadelphia.
Oh, my gosh. It's unbelievable.
The Lord himself forbid Flyers lose tonight, but then we root our you-know-what's off for the Sixers tomorrow. Game 7 Flyers-Penguins, Game 7 Sixers-Celtics will both be Saturday.
Why in the world would it not be Flyers, not be Friday night? That's what stinks.
Yeah, I don't know.
There must be something going on in Pittsburgh. They must have what?
Pierogi convention.
Something like that.
Could be.
Yes.
What's their sandwich that everyone likes out there?
Pamonti Brothers or something?
Yeah, they got something. It might
put French fries. They put French fries and sauerkraut on stuff.
By the way, Aaron Rodgers, they gave the undrafted or whatever the unrestricted free agent tender. So
to his mystery wife too that nobody's ever seen.
He can't go anywhere other than Pittsburgh if he does play.
Oh, okay, good.
So obviously we don't want that to happen because we don't want the Flyers to lose tonight. But if they do, and then the Sixers win tomorrow, Saturday, we already have Phillies Marlins, which would take the back. They wouldn't even be on a burner.
Oh, come on, nobody's even paying attention to that.
They wouldn't even be on a burner unless they're on a heater. Maybe they've won 4 straight and you want to watch the Phillies. But the beauty is their game's at 4:10.
Okay.
So it's not going to be at night where at least one of the two teams will be playing at night.
I'm imagining the Flyers get the primetime game because they have done great for the networks in primetime for ESPN and for TNT.
Yeah, ratings are up.
And they've done great for them on Saturday night primetime first 2 games. So I'm guessing that they're going to want that series game 7 in primetime.
I don't know, though, because you look at a Sixers-Celtics game 7. Oh, it's going to be hard to put either of those games.
But they're not worried. But the NHL isn't worried about that.
No,
they're worried about putting their best product on when they can get that.
But that might be the NBA's best product. So we could have dueling game 7s.
So Saturday, just looking at the NBA, the if necessary game 7s in the respective series. So there's Sixers Celtics, which is it's a historic rivalry, right?
Yeah, it's historic.
Hawks Knicks if there's a game 7,
but it's New York.
But it's the New York market.
Correct.
And then T-Wolves Nuggets with the injuries to Minnesota, that might not have as much cachet.
That doesn't.
And oh, by the way, it's Denver, so that could be at 10 o'clock at night. So that wouldn't, nobody would care about the Eastern, time zone there. There could be like a Sixers Celtics 5 o'clock maybe.
A 5:30 game.
Which they do that on weekends in the NBA playoffs.
I could see 3:30. A 3:30.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great time in the NBA.
How about this? I don't want the Flyers in Game 7. Sixers Celtics 5:30. Flyers 8 o'clock, but the Phillies get that 4:10, so you can watch for an hour.
I'm in on that.
But I don't want the Flyers playing.
Well, yeah, let's just clear that one spot out.
Okay. So let's go Phils 4:10, Sixers 5:30, and that's it.
There you go.
And Flyers ended tonight. Flyers, they can watch.
So much fun.
They can watch those games.
No,
with us.
Great.
We can have a watch party with the Flyers players. Why not, Johnny?
I'll be all for it. Yeah. Let's do it.
They're going to be busy getting ready for Carolina.
Damn right. Game 6 tonight. End it tonight at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Do we have any more voice memos? I need lunatics. We've had a couple good ones, but we're getting closer to puck drop. And again, I'm not saying shame on you, but I feel like the energy evened out a little bit, went down a little bit after they won the first 3.
Disappeared?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of we're expecting to win. And I get it. They were up 3-0.
I think it disappeared.
Look, Penguins, you don't want a Game 7 against that team, please.
No, you don't.
Do not want a Game 7. So do we have any lunatic sicko voicemails?
So Dan from New Jersey sent one along earlier, but he's feeling the same way as you. So he wanted to call out some other people who have been doing voice memos as well. He's got another one here.
Hey, guys. I'm sorry to double up on the voice things, but listen, it's 7:45. I can't be the only Flyers fan calling in trying to pump up this city for the game tonight. I love that Sixers win last night, but tonight is the orange and the black. Mason, where are you at? Truck drivers, where are you at? That dad who wanted to bring his 4-year-old son to the game, where are you at? I need you to help rise this tide and get on to the next flipping round.
Is he doing like the Flyers Avengers? Like he's trying to get everyone together? He's rallying the troops. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't like that we're a little wishy-washy right now. I saw a tweet from Jordy from Barstool.
Okay.
Big Flyers fan,
sure,
right?
Big fan.
And after the Flyers lost, he put out a tweet that he's like scared.
Oh, come on, Jord.
And I'm like,
seriously?
First off,
stop.
Respectfully, Jordy was one of the guys that was like, "Oh, now you guys are talking about him."
Oh, will you stop?
Well, come on, man. We can't be doing this wishy-washy stuff.
Well, first off, don't bring that crap around here.
I got you. Like the Flyers, like we need this energy, man. Like it was there. What happened? Are we scared?
Wait a minute. Jordy was doing the gatekeeping?
At one point he was, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Stop with that crap.
Yeah, I agree with you.
My gosh. I'm disappointed in that because I like his stuff.
I do too. And he wrote an article for Barstool that I agree with. It's time to go full scumbag tomorrow night.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, I mean, we want a rough and tumble night tonight.
I need someone to rip the head off of that penguin. Gritty's going to throw it again. Yes. And when you get it down the lower level, I need the head removed from the body.
Yeah, we need that kind of stuff. We need the barn to be rocking. And I need the team to be rocking. Johnny and I did post-show headlines yesterday. We kind of talked about like how we want the game to start.
Yes.
And I mean it. Like, I'm not saying go hurt somebody, but send a message early. Somebody go find Crosby or Malkin to let them know tonight's going to be a long night. Like, you are going to be sore tomorrow morning.
Yeah, who's going to be that Drew shift?
Right.
Like, who's going to be that guy? Level Crosby, go get one. Oh, man, I want it so bad.
The thing that bothered me the most about Game 5, and we talked about it the next morning, was the first 3 games of the series, the Flyers were either the bullies or if they got punched, they punched right back. Game 5, they were very like, all right, let's not make any mistakes here. And that's not what won them those first 3 games. The first 3 games, the Flyers were the ones that were punching them in the mouth left and right, either punching back or being the first one to punch. And I feel like they didn't do that in Game 5. I feel like they were very careful.
They were. They were almost, they weren't intimidated by it at all.
No.
Because they were the better team in the first period, even though they were trailing. But I'm gonna watch tonight very confident, and maybe that's wrong. But I feel confident about them tonight that the third period will be comfortable.
Okay,
so we'll see.
And I like that. I just want to have a moment, like at some point early on, and I had this moment with my son when we were watching the game together. It was game 3 when all hell broke loose. You got everybody in the damn penalty box. I don't need that.
Right.
But I need another moment where I'm grabbing my son's shirt. I'm saying, look, get him. Like I want another moment of that. I didn't get much of that in game 5. It was, come on, go get him. Oh, what are you doing, man? Go get him. And they didn't. It's almost like they didn't want to make mistakes. They didn't want to get the Penguins in the penalty box. Right. I get it for duh. I understand why. But I just feel like they didn't play with some jam.
Oh, jeez. Stop it. What does Coop think about the fighting?
He thinks it's hilarious.
See, that's what when Liv was a little girl, she loved the fighting.
Yeah, I pulled the sweater over his head.
She thought that was awesome when they were fighting.
I probably shouldn't teach him that stuff, but I was showing him how to do it.
He'll be fine.
He might get the edge, especially if he's like fighting a bigger kid or something. He might get the edge.
Yeah, but I don't want him I was doing it for fun. I don't want him to go up to one of his friends at daycare and then all of a sudden I get a phone call. How did he learn this?
Well, you put him in the box for a couple minutes, minor, and he'll learn.
Exactly.
All right, what do we have on the Davis Honda text line? You can feel the
Davis
difference.
You don't want him showing up on one of those videos. Oh. Yeah. Let me tell you something, Linda.
Yeah, I don't need that.
You don't want that one.
So we have Bob from Vermont checking in. We're not just fired up about Flyers Game 6. People are fired up about what the Sixers were able to do last night. And Bob from Vermont says, Embiid played like he was 20 years old again. Man, it felt good. He did jack up a lot of threes early, but then he got his confidence back. It looked like play the song.
I like that. Look, he looked like vintage Embiid in the second half. The first half, way too many threes, way too much three-point line to three-point line. He was doing the Brendan Gunn. When we play pickup basketball, B-Gun never wants to go down into the post.
Well, it's a lot more for him to run.
Yes. Embiid
he doesn't want to have to do that.
He was hovering around the three-point. And look, I brought up to Johnny when we first got in this morning, whoever was the color analyst yesterday with Mike Breen.
Wasn't great.
Embiid takes his first shot from the mid-range, and the guy's like, why isn't he on the block? I'm like, have you not watched a game of Joel Embiid in the last 10 years? But he shouldn't be hovering around the three-point line all the time. And I don't know if it was him feeling more comfortable because he literally just got surgery 19 days prior, or was it Nick Nurse that changed the game plan in the second half? Because once they got him more mid-range, once they got him deeper to the basket, he was vintage Embiid in the second half.
And the texter says he wants to see Joel Embiid like he was 20. At 20, do we really want Joel Embiid at 20?
Well, no, because that's when his foot wasn't
That's
working.
what I'm saying. That's the last thing
we're
want.
looking for younger Embiid.
Yeah, you don't want him at 20. At 20.
How about Knicks series Embiid?
Yes, that was the best series I ever saw him play.
How about MVP year Embiid?
That works too.
Yeah, that sort of crapped out, though, that year.
All right, coming up next.
You didn't want that playoffs.
Flyers, Penguins. We talk a little bit more about it. We'll see what Vegas has to think about the game. And we'll check more of our text line. And we got to get the final numbers on our polls. Kincaid and Sal Chunas before we hand things over to Middays with Marks here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It is 9:47 here on Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Saw the Middays with Marks crew. They're getting ready. Middays with Marks. Sean Brace, Ray Dunn. That comes your way at 10 o'clock. They will talk about the Sixers' victory. They will preview Flyers today. They will talk about the Phillies' dismissal of Rob Thomson. Johnny Marks was not in yesterday, so looking forward to hearing his thoughts on everything. Phillies get the win, Johnny. Do they go on a run? So Ricky was in with us, and he said it was very strategic to do it before this stretch of games. We pointed this out last week.
We did.
This stretch of games. 3 with the Giants. You already want to know. 4 in Miami with the Marlins. 3 at home against the A's. I know the A's are playing decent baseball, but you're the better team on paper. 3 at home against the Rockies. Mickey Mantle, Moniak. You got to watch out for that guy. 3 in Boston against the Red Sox. And 3 in Pittsburgh. What is a bare minimum number for you to say this team needs to accomplish?
It's 15 games, right?
Yes.
15. Minimum 10-5.
That's what I thought. 10-5.
My gut was 9, but sure, let's go to 10.
Dude, 10-5, and now you're, what, that would be 6 games under, 5 games under 500? They were 9 and 9, 4 games under 500. So that's the way you started. Now, one thing, that's a long time from now. They then have a really rough stretch. So this is why they need to play good baseball. You have Reds, who are playing good baseball, Guardians, Padres, Dodgers, Padres. Then you have a cupcake against the White Sox, but then it's Blue Jays, who I know are struggling as well, and Brewers. They have the second half of May into June is a monstrous stretch.
It is.
So you need to get out of the ditch that you're in now.
10-5's not. That shouldn't be a lot to ask.
No,
in that stretch, 10-5, and if you could make that 11-4, then you're just feeling great.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a lot to ask, but they have lost 11 of their last 13.
Yeah, but you got to make up for that because you played when you play like crapola like that, you got to go on a stretch where you
you have to, especially before all those other teams.
Yeah, you got to start clean up the mess on aisle 5.
Now, what's going to be amazing is how they respond tonight. There's always that day after or day of a firing where it's like, all right, let's rally, right? And we see it in sports all the time. Like bettors, like gambling people do that all the time, right? Like they realize, all right, this is like I literally said to Sean Brace yesterday, bet the house on the Phillies. All fair.
Mascots and coaches, man. That's how you make your money.
I know, yeah, you with the dead mascot theory. But what about today? Like that to me is almost more important. Like the second day, like did they use yesterday as that igniter for a run, or is that just all right, this happens, let's go out there and win it, and then do they come in today like they have been?
Well, it helps that they're facing a righty. It also helps that they have Sanchez on the mound.
Yeah.
So it's set up for them to continue to play well.
By the way, speaking of Sanchez, I did not know this until this morning. I saw the clip from Jesus Lazard. Do you know he's the first Philly star to go at least 7 innings this year?
That's incredible.
When you know the record, it doesn't sound that crazy, right? They're freaking 10-19. But
That's
what
incredible.
if we talked about this rotation? Like this rotation is what's going to carry them for the bulk of the season. And last year, it was like everybody was going 7 to start the season. Jesus Luzardo going 7 innings yesterday was the first Phillies pitcher to do it this year.
How about 127 times a manager has changed during the season in the modern era of baseball? Okay?
Yeah, 127 times.
78 times the team's winning percentage improved with the second manager.
Yeah.
39 times it declined. So most of the time, 2 out of 3, it's going to improve.
And that's why I think the second game is almost more important than the first game, because if they
get on a roll.
Yeah, if they look like the team that we saw 9-19 tonight, then it's like, all right, we're in trouble. If they win a second straight game, I don't care who they're playing. Don't do that. It's just the Giants, because right now it's just the Phillies. Right now, everybody looks at the Phillies and goes, that's the team we want to play. If the Phillies win the second straight game, I'll start saying, all right, maybe something happened here.
Yeah, then you start feeling good about it.
Yeah.
I already feel like this thing's going to turn around anyway. I really do.
They were going to win eventually. It's just how long was it going to take?
10-152. Shout out the Phillies.
Yeah, I don't think so. All right, Flyers tonight. 7:30 puck drop. Listen live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers on the handy dandy FanDuel app, -120. Favorites, not heavy favorites.
Okay.
Penguins +100. You feel comfortable game?
Yes.
Third period. You think we have our feet up a bit?
What if I do Flyers -1.5?
Oh,
that's
+205.
Okay, I'm feeling good with that. I would definitely do that bet. Flyers -1.5.
You know, the last time you did this, it did not go well.
Yeah, you haven't had a heater with the hockey predictions.
Flyers -1.5. If you'd like to have it, why don't we do a head-to-head? We'll do a head-to-head on like a breakfast bet or something.
I'm not going to guess. I'm not going to.
No, I mean somebody would say, if you don't think that's a good bet,
hold on. The Dominican Austin Wells, one of our frequent commenters on YouTube, not feeling good about the Flyers.
Okay, I will go Flyers -1.5. Does he want to lay it?
He is going with.
If he's willing to lay it,
propeller hat bet.
Well, what? No, but I don't get any benefit from that. Because if he loses, if he loses, I don't get any benefit out of it.
He could buy a propeller hat and send us a picture.
It doesn't do anything for me.
From his office, he could
it doesn't do anything for me. No propeller hat bet for that. No, it doesn't do anything for me. You want to wait? You come with legitimate stuff.
You just don't want to mess up the hair. Like,
well, no, I'll bet somebody here if one of you guys wanted to do it.
I'm not betting the Penguins.
No, I'm not betting the Penguins. Let's go Flyers,
you don't have to bet
dude.
the Penguins. You
Let's
could
go.
just say,
Come on, man. Let's go Flyers.
No, but you could say the Flyers. I don't think that they're going to cover the 1.5. You could say they still think the Flyers are going to win.
I'm not saying any of that. I hope you're right.
Yeah,
I think it's
Flyers by 40.
I think it's going to be a comfortable. I think it is going to be a comfortable third period for you tonight, folks.
That would be great.
And we'll be talking about Flyers Carolina, which would be great.
It's going to be great.
Oh my gosh,
that's going to be fantastic. And then, dude, if we celebrate the Flyers beating the Penguins tomorrow, we also get to preview Sixers Celtics Game 6 tomorrow.
And Flyers Carolina, I believe, then they would shift that to starting on Saturday in Carolina.
Okay.
So we might get 2 games Saturday anyway.
Yeah, Game 1, we could get a Game 1 and a Game 7.
Buckle up for this weekend.
By the way, early line, Sixers Celtics. Celtics favored.
4.5.
Close. 5.5. Which that is the lowest point total so far in this series. Because Game 3 or 4 was 7.5.
That's got Sixers written all over it.
See, I think it has Celtics written all over it. They're tricking you. I think they're tricking you.
Okay.
See, that's what I'm thinking.
Most of the public's
I want to hear what
betting
Sean
the Celtics.
Brace has to say about that.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk to Shawnee Vegas.
He loves his numbers.
Sixers, that's tomorrow. But tonight, Flyers. Get the job done tonight, Flyers.
Have
please.
some fun tonight, folks.
Damn right. We appreciate everybody that's been a part of the show today. A lot of stuff that you can watch on YouTube. Buster Olney was fantastic. Adam Schefter was fantastic. Ricky Bowe in studio. All kinds of stuff for you guys to check out on YouTube. YouTube, we appreciate you being live with us every single day on the show. Middays with Marks and X here on The Fanatic.